throughout that conversation, it got to a part where they were discussing, the most influential players in the NBA in terms of since LeBron James has been watching and covering basketball. And some people seem to be under this confusion that no, he said since Michael Jordan. He didn't say that. So what we want to do is want to play exactly what LeBron James said yesterday again to finally put this point to rest of exactly what he said. Take a listen to what LeBron actually said versus what these guys on the internet are saying. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
Because I believe in 08, 09, or whenever that little light-skinned came in the league, that's in Golden State, he changed that whole narrative. He did. He single-handedly changed the no lead is safe. It's like Pat Mahomes right now.
It's interesting you bring up Steph because I think there's
Love that guy,
a long history of
Steph.
Great players that have impacted the game. And you can see a lineage between different skill sets, right? Michael to Kobe, right? You can see that. I don't know that there's been a player that has influenced the game more than Steph. And you can certainly point to like Harden for sure in that era, Damian Lillard for sure, but you're right, it started with Steph.
When it comes to influence, since I've been watching the game, the most influence on the game, and obviously we know what Mike did for the game.
Sure.
Steph and Allen Iverson are the two biggest influential guys in our game since I've been watching and covering it. One, they're 6'3", 6'4", if you want to.
Steph's not 6'4".
If you want to look on the back of a basketball card, you're always a lot taller on the back of the basketball card. Allen Iverson and Steph, they were just so relatable, and kids felt like they could be them. They were guys that was not always counted on. They were small in stature, and they just defined the odds. So you got AI, who's like unbelievable crossover, cornrows, arm sleeve. We wear arm sleeve. Everyone wears an arm sleeve now because of Allen Iverson. And he's going in the trenches, laying it up over bigs, whatever the case may be. And now you have Steph, who's shooting over the Empire State Building. It's just like those two are the two most influential when you say the game, how they changed the game, and the kids, and like, those are two guys that you just wanted to watch every single night.
So you heard what LeBron had to say. So yesterday I tuned in to see what Kendrick Perkins said, and he called out LeBron. He said LeBron was basically lying, and that's a LeBron guy saying that, by the way, not me. So as we were talking, Austin Rivers then tried to dress it up like they always do. They're like, no, well, he didn't really mean that, and they all looked at him like, bro, stop. We're going off of what he said, not what you think he meant. We can all sit here and make inferences. Right? You can be standing outside looking at a bird is looking at you. You think, oh, he's looking at me because he's hungry. No, he might also think you ugly. So we're not going to get into all of that. We're going to get into actually what he actually said. So they were talking. It got to the point where Malika Andrews and Brian Windhorst basically started to clown LeBron. And she's like, but the most influential, whose jersey number are you wearing? So for those of you who missed what Malika Andrews and Brian Windhorst had to say, I want to play for you now. And then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to what they had to say here.
Iverson changed the game.
2005?
Huh?
You're saying since 2005?
Huh?
Yeah, we talk about all time, bro. Like,
okay, well,
it's Jordan.
So if we're going all time outside
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Okay, but
what number, Brian Windhorst,
he didn't say
does LeBron James wear?
23.
What number does LeBron James wear?
Thank you.
And why does he wear it?
Look, the reason I find this hilarious is because LeBron and JJ started this podcast because they were tired of watching on TV discussions about like LeBron versus Jordan. They wanted like a more higher level discussion about pick the picker and screen the screener and stuff. And what comes out of the first podcast? A discussion about LeBron and Jordan. And again, he's asking about influential. LeBron was influenced by Michael Jordan by almost more than anybody until he got to be 17 years old. He wears number 23.
Right.
I mean,
but you understand what he's saying, though, right?
Yes, I understand.
They did have an influence, and they were powerful.
The entire NBA.
Well,
they play
and also,
like Stephen Curry.
is this
they
just
play like Stephen Curry?
an influence was probably that's a specifically chosen word so that it's not the greatest.
This is
so
JJ. You always got to be careful about guys from Duke.
They have their thesauruses.
And JJ set him up. JJ set him up. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, well.
So you heard what they had to say. Listen, here are my thoughts about all of this. I think that few things are going to happen. I think this podcast that they're doing is going to get a lot of views. I think they're going to get a lot of subscribers. But I also think it could backfire in a few ways, which is when you go out there and have these gaffes like you did yesterday, it's going to cause a lot of people to go back at you and laugh at you. And that's why I said this is fantastic because it's going to give us more stuff to talk about. When you go out there and you say these type of things, people will react to you and people will call you out and people will push back. And once again, I think that is necessary. The fact of the matter is the following. Big media is not going to do it. You're going to seldom see people in big media do it. Former NBA players are not going to do it because a lot of these guys do not want to disagree with one another. They don't, right? You rarely hear an NBA player take a different position on a show with somebody he's cool with and say, you know what, I totally disagree with you. It's all about being agreeable. The people that I believe are going to hold these guys' feet to the fire are the independent creators. Maybe Rob Parker, Chris Broussard from certain times will do it, but it's really going to be us. Why? Because we don't have that connection. The only connection we have is to the sport and maybe to our audience. And to me, I think whether you agree with them or not, you need to say what you actually think. That's the point. If you 100% agree with what LeBron and these guys are saying, then say it. That's how I do. But if there are other people out there that disagree, that want to push back, they should be allowed to have a voice and react to these matters. And we're the ones that are going to be pushing back. But yesterday they tried to make it seem like this sanctimonious thing of we were just talking sports. It's like, well, here you are finding yourself getting into the mix again, talking about things that pretty much anybody else will be talking about. If we want to talk about the X's and O's of basketball, I've already seen this before. Kobe Bryant did detail. It was strictly basketball. Period. End of story. He would take a player, dissect their game down to the molecular level, break it down, all of these different things, and you're done. We didn't get into who he thought he was greater or not. That's why they call it detail. Kobe already did this at a much, much higher, more intelligent level. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry. Like, JJ Reddick is fantastic when they talk about basketball. You can't put him in the same universe with him and Kobe Bryant talking about. You just can't.